Hi, it's me. Welcome to our channel where we discuss the business of healthcare. Today, we have an executive report for you. The pharma and biotech industries are entering a period of pronounced instability. Investors are more risk-averse and less willing to fund mid-stage biopharma companies. Macroeconomic uncertainty is driving a risk premium across asset classes and geographies, and pipelines are delivering mixed results, increasing scrutiny on capital deployment. At the same time, regulators face a deluge of new submissions and audit requests that are straining their capacity. And biopharma companies, both large cap and small, are cutting costs primarily by dialing back R&D spend and clinical trial budgets, often resulting in the premature end of studies with potentially cures and treatments for some of the world's most devastating diseases. In this context, executives must address too how to contain costs in a way that preserves long-term clinical value and brand equity, and how to unlock new sources of value in an environment of constrained capital, shifting payer dynamics, and evolving regulations. We believe one of the key pressure points for biopharma companies is in clinical operations, which remain among the largest cost drivers for sponsors. But as the number of trials increases, so too does the need to manage budgets. In fact, according to a recent McKinsey study, biopharmaceutical companies are closing clinical trials earlier than ever, even when patients continue to derive clinical benefit from the investigational therapy. In our view, this trend threatens to undermine the industry's ability to deliver groundbreaking therapies and cures for patients and to drive sustainable growth for biopharma companies. So what can the industry do? Well, one key solution is a concept called post-trial access, which is gaining traction in the US as a pragmatic way to balance the need for rigorous clinical evaluation with the desire to make new therapies available to patients as soon as possible. Post-trial access, or PTA, allows patients to continue receiving treatment with a drug after a clinical trial has formally ended. This approach ensures that patients continue to benefit from therapies that have already been shown to be effective while also supporting compliance with ethical and regulatory frameworks. But this approach also helps sponsors contain costs by minimizing the need to relaunch trials or manage the logistics of re-enrolling patients. In addition, it enables the collection of real-world data that can inform labeling, reimbursement, and even expanded indications for the drug. As PTA models mature, we expect leading U.S. health insurers to form strategic partnerships with sponsors to implement these frameworks. In fact, we predict that UnitedHealthcare will lead the way by using its Optum data and provider network to integrate post-trial care into bundled chronic disease programs. Specifically, we anticipate that UnitedHealthcare will strike 35 to 50 deals in 2025 that are worth between $250 million and $300 million. We also expect CVS Aetna to bundle PTA into its menu clinic services and formulary strategies, targeting 25 to 30 deals worth an estimated $180 million to $220 million. Similarly, Cigna is likely to engage in 20 to 25 transactions focused on specialty areas such as oncology and rare diseases through its Evernorth platform, which would be worth about $150 million to $180 million. On the West Coast, Kaiser Permanente, given its integrated payer-provider model, may initiate 15 to 20 internal pilot programs, particularly in oncology and cardiology, which would amount to roughly $100 million to $130 million. Meanwhile, Blue Cross Blue Shield, especially through its regional affiliates, is likely to pursue 10 to 15 localized PTA pilots with academic centers and mid-stage biotechs, which are estimated to be worth $70 million to $90 million. Overall, this trend could represent $800 million to $900 million in post-trial access deal flow by the end of 2025, while insurers will be early adopters. We think the impact of post-trial access will be further accelerated by the removal of pharmacy benefit managers, or PBMs, from the healthcare ecosystem. PBM disintermediation enables direct manufacturer-payer engagement, which facilitates outcome-based reimbursement for post-trial programs. It also reduces implementation times by 30 to 40% in some cases, enabling faster uptake of these frameworks. Moreover, removing PBMIS eliminates layers of bureaucracy that have historically inflated costs and misaligned incentives. Payers will then be more inclined to support long-term access programs tied to patient outcomes rather than short-term cost savings. This policy shift is essential to operationalizing PTA strategies, particularly in complex therapeutic areas such as oncology, neurology, and rare diseases. But there's another innovation we think will also help boost adoption. To complement PTA models, the US biopharma ecosystem could adopt a two-tiered clinical trial structure that's inspired by China's approach. Tier 1 consists of smaller, more nimble studies that validate early efficacy and safety with limited patient populations and lower capital investment. Tier 2 comprises larger confirmatory trials that are only greenlit if pre-specified economic value or biomarker thresholds are achieved in Tier 1. This approach not only supports efficient capital allocation and early go, no-go decisions, but also enables data-driven validation of assets before major resource commitment. It also makes clinical and financial risk profiles more attractive to investors. If these three trends come together as predicted, they could significantly boost the valuation of dozens of venture-backed therapeutic platforms that are currently stuck between early proof of concept and scalable commercialization. In particular, we think this innovation can help lift companies out of the so-called valley of death. By extending runway without excessive burn, improving patient retention and long-term data generation, increasing investor confidence and accelerating time to market signals, even before full trial completion. We hope you found this report to be informative. Stay tuned for our next industry update. Thanks for watching.